Hello everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the PixelCast. I am Jeremy Lessie, founder of PixelFest, and tonight we are coming at you from Pixels in Norfolk. We've got a PixelFest Devs Meetup going on. You can see these guys are playing Mario. What are they playing? They're actually playing Smash Brothers in the background on a 64 there, so we're having a good time. And of course, I don't know if anybody saw this, but I put it out on Facebook. I wanted to start interviewing some local developers, and tonight I have some local developers, obviously, that are here for the Devs Meetup. And the first guy I'm going to talk to tonight is Joshua Jané. He is here to talk about his studio, Just Bear Games. Come on in.
Oh, hello. How's it going?
So, Josh had this. I didn't get it at first because it's Just Bear, B-A-R-E. But all the games star just bears.
Yes, so we did a little bit of pun there. We like to put a little bit of our own personal stuff into the game. Personally, I like to see components of games that have kind of been built at the bare bone. Because if you can build something great there, then you can continue on and build something better from there on.
I like it.
Yeah, and so one of our other teammates, Sam, he's one of our 3D modelers, and he likes bears. He just likes bears. So
yeah, he made an awesome bear game for PixelFest 2017. Wait, no, it was 2018. It was last year.
Yeah.
We have to get the picnic baskets. It took me back to my Yogi Bear days. I had a great time with this game. My kids love this game, and
it was pretty cool. Yeah, so his contribution to that is we'll put a little bit in a sense that we try to put a bear into our games as much as we can, or as long as the bear's in the game that we'll build.
I like it. So it's Just Bear Games with this idea, I think, on a focus on sort of simplicity, I guess, or
yes,
just what's necessary and building
start
up
with
each
the
step
bare
of the way.
minimum and then go from there.
But then the games also have a bear, B-E-A-R, in all the games.
So yeah. I mean, puns are fun to play with, so are games. So we're like, let's put it all together and then go from there.
Yeah, love it. There's and the game they've got, I don't know if he wants to pull it up. Yeah, it's on Android right now.
Yeah, so we kind of developed a little bit. So we kind of been on and off as a group for probably about I would say two years at least.
Right.
And so due to schooling and stuff like that, some of us kind of been contributing a little less than others, but we've had recently a game that we've kind of been all contributing with, and that's what we call Bouncy Bear.
It's a fun game. It's a good game.
If you can see it here, there you go, Bouncy Bear. Essentially what we got is this bear that you play as. That's the character. And when you hit play, the tutorial has already been played because I just had it up not so long ago. And what you do is you have this. It's one of those. I don't know if you guys ever played Kitty Cannon, but those flash games from Newgrounds and stuff like that was very
People
very
love
fun
that
time.
stuff.
Yeah, so that's essentially what we're doing here is see how far you can go. And so it's hard to see maybe on the camera, but you have all these mushrooms.
He's bouncing,
that's a
doing
mushroom
flips,
right there. So that's a mushroom. So we have this UI, and we'll get a little closer so you can see a little better. So we have achievements attached to it. We have high scores. So if you were to type in high scores, then it will pull up the high score leaderboard for Google services. You can see the side there. It's got the character's name, so we'll go back.
We'll figure out a better way to do this later.
Yeah. But anyway, so the essential idea here is you can play. All right.
Woo!
Okay, we got really unlucky there. That's right. So the idea is it's kind of teaching you all right, the full experience of what you go through as you play. So we'll just hit restart and let's see if we can get It's hard to play on the side right now because I only got one hand to really tap. Oh, okay, wait, here we go.
Get it.
Yeah, so we
boing,
bounce. Oh, there we go. So you have this down arrow as well. So when you're in the sky, you hit the pause as well.
You want me to hold the phone?
Yeah, that might work. That might work.
Sorry, why did it take me so long to do that?
All right, so you kind of need your two thumbs or two fingers. All right, so okay, that was a horrible launch. all right.
I'm gonna hide out back here.
Yeah. Okay, hold on. This is getting worse. Jeremy, you're not helping. All right. So we launch at high volume there, so then we can get there you go. And then we're just kind of going to tap this.
So you tap that down arrow, it basically throws him back down at the ground, right?
Yeah, so what that will do is that launches him down, gives him a cape, so he gets this awesome mechanic to go really fast in a downward. He dives down, basically. So the bear will dive down. So we got a new high score, so we can go to high score table and we can check out. Oh, we got a high score. Good job.
Nice.
So we have that going, working with us. So we've kind of been doing some updates recently, and we'll continue, restart. We'll get that out of the way. So we'll hit restart, and then we'll bounce.
Boing.
So yeah, there's a bunch of fun stuff that's going on here.
Boing, 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 boing. Make it. No.
Oh, so close.
Gosh.
So we're doing some updates and stuff like that. Currently, we've gotten feedback from posting on our the Google services and stuff like that, and we're gonna actually move up.
He's addicted to the game. He doesn't want to put it down. He just wants to play
I
it.
just want to play it now.
You got the cape. Oh, he has a cape. Does he always have cape?
Yeah. So every time you down pound.
Boing. Oh, there you go. I see it. Okay.
Yeah, he gets the cape.
It's like his cape flies out and he goes boom, boom, hits the ground and takes back off.
So it was hard to see on the camera, but if you go back a little bit, I knew it went on the camera for some parts. There's actually smaller mushrooms, and those are the super mushrooms. So each item you can interact with has a super component to it.
Okay.
And so like a regular one, happens a lot, but it doesn't do much for you. Keeps you going further and stuff like that. But like a super mushroom will actually bounce you up really high in the sky and will just keep.
I've seen some like crazy fights in this game where the bear just like launches.
You
feel sorry for the bear. I'll be honest with you.
Yeah, you get some good combos together, and you're actually in the stars. You're going really far. So it's pretty fun.
I haven't seen that yet. Is that you can do that?
Yeah, you can go to the stars.
Oh!
Yeah. This one's a little more difficult. So like I've been kind of doing some internal testing and stuff like that. So this one is a little different compared to what we normally have. I could download it off the store and probably get a better up to date.
Was this one of your dev builds?
Yeah, exactly.
Nice.
But what we're testing now and what we're trying to build towards, and we actually kind of got confirmation about 2 weeks ago that we think is going to be really great, is we're moving the Bouncy Bear to another dimension.
Oh.
We're bringing him to
interdimensional
3D.
bear.
Yes.
Oh.
That also might be a teaser.
Adding a dimension. I got it. All right.
It might be adding. That was a teaser for maybe another map.
Okay.
So right now we just have that green forest that we're doing, and we're looking into seasonal changes. So
those are always fun.
You might get the fall in there. You might get
some pumpkins. And,
you get some pumpkins and stuff like that.
Time.
You'll get some potential snowfall and maybe snow.
Inside of this one app, will you have both a 2D and a 3D like gameplay? Or will you make those like two different apps?
Yeah, so we're working on the 2FD version.
Okay.
But we'll also keep in mind of our original plan of the 2D and see if we can have.
So you're gonna do like 3D models, etc., but it's still gonna be a side perspective.
Exactly.
Okay.
So 2FD. So if you've ever played on Xbox, it's called Trials, and there's other examples like that where
this is where you use like 3D models for your game, but your camera is still. It could be an orthogonal camera, usually an orthogonal camera, which is so it's just like at 90 degrees, and there's no. It doesn't use a view frustum like this. It's just square, like straight on, but you're still using a 3D scene.
Yep, exactly. So we're gonna play a little bit of homage to the development of the 3D models. So we're not gonna go full orthogonal. We're gonna go actually a little bit into perspective.
Okay.
So we're gonna have a little bit of an angle looking down at the models and stuff like that, which I think is gonna be really cool. I'm trying to remember if there's an example of a game on N64 that had a very similar look. It'll come to me and I'll let you guys know. But so we're going to do a little bit of an angle to help bring those models to life.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So you get they don't just look straight flat. You get like a little bit of the edge.
So you'll actually see depth to the ground that you're bouncing on. So your character is still going to bounce on that one direction there.
Right.
But you're still going to see depth, and it allows me to play with a lot of the background.
And so does this go along with basically like the motto of the company? The studio, which is getting these bare essentials, right? We've got like gameplay and we've got graphics, but it's all 2D. Now we're gonna take a step forward. We're gonna get some 3D going,
exactly.
And
I don't know if you know this, but that's exactly what happened with Breath of the Wild.
Oh, I did not know that.
So if and I think it was it's on YouTube. You have to look it up. I believe it was
I do.
Yeah,
wait, this is where they made the game.
They literally made like 80% or something like the game,
and it was
2D.
like it looked like the original Legend of Zelda.
And they were like, okay, if we can make this work here, then let's step it up. And
they had all the gameplay systems and everything built into it, the physics system. Henry, who's sitting behind us here, actually sat in on the GDC like talk where they did this whole thing.
Oh wow,
he was at GDC when they did that.
I was in my room, and I saw it on YouTube.
Yeah.
So I saw the GC talk online.
You can see the stuff from anywhere now.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's pretty crazy. Yeah, no, but they that's kind of something very similar that we brought homage to our company. We're like, all right, if we can build the bare essentials and it works, and the same thing like when it comes to like level design, if you can block out the level and you can add the mechanics or the experience, and it feels good.
Right.
Once you add like the finer details and the art and stuff like that, and the music and all that, it's going to be even better.
Yeah. No, right. You white box it.
Yeah.
First, and then you're like, hey, cool. If that's fun with like no detail, no extra animations, no sound effects or whatever, none of the bells and whistles, but it's still just something about it. And then you start adding that stuff. That's where it really you just get that. It just pours.
Exactly.
Like
and that So we do that a lot with our development. No matter what we're doing, we'll do a lot of. All right, this is going to be a 3D model, but we'll just put like a 2D image there, like in 3D space or something, and we're like, okay, if we can interact with this. And we get the idea of the mechanic or the music that's happening, so we'll test a very specific component of the game at that time, and if it works, then we'll move on from there. We'll just hold it there for as long as possible until specifically that element
you really
is
drills down.
Yeah, we're like, okay,
that one thing.
This is great. It works. I'm tired of seeing this 2D element. Let's build a 3D model and put it there instead. So we'll go as far. We'll go as far as we can.
It's a great approach.
Yeah, it's great. So we've kind of been slowly chipping away of upgrading and doing more. So we're excited to see where the future takes us.
So I have to say, like, as I'm talking to Josh, I'm just like, this is the first time I'm interviewing people that are sitting right next to me. I've done very minimal interviews in the past, and I think I'm going to include those at some point. I interviewed David Helgeson at one point. I interviewed Kishibashi at one point. I interviewed Vince White at one point, and I'm trying to remember if there was anybody else. Back in the day when I was working on a game called Hail, and I was doing a Kickstarter. So those were the first interviews that I ever conducted. And now we're doing this thing, and I don't know if this is going to turn out well. If it does, awesome. If not, I'm very sorry. I apologize in advance. We'll do better next time.
All right, let's see. I'm going to do a little side stuff here. What I'm going to do is look at Bouncy Bear. I already have the top. First I got to install it because please install.
And one thing I'll do is I'll just talk the atmosphere here at Pixels is wonderful. This is just such a great place to come, and if you're a gamer, be a gamer, play a game, relax.
Yeah, this place is cool.
It is. I feel very much that this has almost like a Cheers. It's like if you took Cheers and then crossed it with your favorite arcade or just your friend's couch. That's pretty much the ambiance at this place. So we're having a great time here at Pixels tonight. We're obviously doing the PixelCast. I'm looking forward to shutting this down and actually going to play some games and get some get another drink. I'm having this beer, which is great.
I'll take you on some Smash. How about that?
We'll play some Smash. Play some Smash Bros. I like to play some GoldenEye. So we'll see what's up here. But there are a ton of games around here. One of my favorite things that they have here actually is a Pong machine downstairs that is physical. I'm not exactly sure how this works, but it seems to be based on magnetic fields. And so the ball is like a magnet and the paddles are magnets. So it's totally physical. It plays very well though. It plays very much like what the old arcade game I feel played like. So it would be very interesting to put that on the show at some point. And if you haven't seen it, people flip out when they see this thing. I think have a really great time. Okay, it looks like Josh has a build a game here.
So I removed the dev version of Bouncy Bear, and I downloaded it from the App Store. You can search up Bouncy Bear. Oh, there you go. All right, so you've seen this before. This is the thing. But what's going to happen is you'll see more than just the mushrooms now. We have little beehives.
Oh, you're going way further.
You can collect.
Woo! Look at that.
So we're getting close
to the stratosphere.
Oh, you saw a satellite there. That was pretty cool. All right. So we get items that we can impress.
Look at them go.
Yeah. So there's certain birds that you can interact with, and they'll tweet you up. So the red birds will tweet you up, and then there's.
Not messing you up.
Maybe. Oh, there we go. So we hit a bee. I love hitting multiple beehives because then you get a very good fast combo. And then if you hit the good mushroom.
Oh, look at that.
So that one in the stars. Look at that. Look at that.
I have not seen that before. That's a first for me. I don't think that was there.
So
man, you are you just keep going. You're going to hit the sun.
So before working on the previous dev one that I was working on, we implemented 2 new features, and once we iron out all the details, we'll actually upload it to the Google Play Store for the update. that update would include meteorites that if you get too high in the stars, it will stop you. So that's the evil, because the stars right now are really awesome to experience, but there's a little bit of, so there's a little hang glider right there. That one's pretty cool. So the stars are, okay, cool.
Oh, he's going again.
So I hit a super B right there. So the stars are a little, the stars have a little bit of stuff that's not hard to experience. So you just have the satellites and the stars, is basically what I'm trying to say. So we had a little...
That was quite a flight. Oh man, he's still going.
I went into the cannon just
there.
Heck? Yeah. So we're going to add meteorites to the stars, and then also, as you can tell, there's only the baskets, which give you the items. The baskets give you items. Kind of like Mario Kart, to some degree. So you can see the baskets on the right there. If I had an item, I could tap it. But we're gonna add. We're adding baskets that are floating in the sky by balloons.
They were over there. Now, are you? The last time I played this, I was wondering about ragdoll physics. Are we gonna get some ragdolls? I really want to see ragdoll physics on this bear. I want to see the bears. I don't want to say pain. But the bear's pain.
I'm not 100% sure if we're gonna add it to the 2D version.
Okay. That makes sense.
I'm highly confident that we're going to add it to the 2.5D.
That makes a ton of sense. It's going to be so much fun.
We've already gotten a lot of the implementation of certain mechanics in play, and you thought the bear trap was scary now. Just wait until 2.5D. It is just like, and like it's going to be great.
Is it going to be some guts and stuff? Like, is it going to that?
Maybe.
Or is it going to be like a stuffed bear, like where he's like poof, poof?
That'd be kind of cool, like a little stuffed bear, like, you know, the stuffing comes out, you know? Yeah.
Like as if, Winnie the Pooh got in there.
Our game will be rated R at that point, you know, that's equivalent to blood, right?
I don't...
Yeah, maybe. We'll find out, we'll see.
But you could have like a setting, you type a code in and get it, maybe, back in the day with the...
Mature only.
Something like that.
Yeah, we'll have fun with it. And that's one of the great things.
What was the name of this game again?
So this is called Bouncy Bear.
Bouncy Bear. It's on right now. It's on the Google Play Store for Android.
Yep.
The studio is Just Bear Games. Now, I'm gonna let you give some last words for the night, and I'm gonna go grab Joseph Musso. It's like Mewtwo, but with so, and he's gonna talk a little about this like crazy Santa game that he's got going on. I'll help you do some mechanics for it.
Thank you, Jeremy, for allowing me to be on PixelCast. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
So if you want to check out an unbearable game, as you can see, it's unbearable. That's my plug. Go check it out. Please give us feedback. I would love your input. I love your thoughts. That's pretty much it. I think that's a great experience to learn about what people are doing in the community. Not only is just you have this environment that you can go to and share your creations, but you also get to experience exactly what is in the mind or what's in the future development of the people that are doing it. So it's a great time to experience that. But I think my time is up. We got this guy here with an awesome. So I'm gonna peace out. Thank you guys for letting me be on stream. I'm gonna go take care and go play some what's on that screen back there. Peace out.
All right, everybody. I'm back with Joseph Musso. Like Mewtwo, but Musso. Now, I only met Joseph maybe a month. Was that a month? 2 months ago? It was 2 months ago.
Two
devs meetups ago. Yeah. We were out in Hampton, out at Brown Chicken, Brown Cows. That was the first time I met Joseph. He came in. He's got crazy ideas as a designer. Now, one of the ideas that he has is, and also I have to mention, like, Josh was president of the ODU Game Design and Development Club. Well, this guy founded the ODU Game Design and Development Club, so he's got a rich history. Said a lot of good game design ideas. One of them, kind of crazy, is a Santa Claus game, and it's a crazy Santa Claus game. But I'm going to let him sort of tell you a little bit about this because he caught my ear with it. I think there's a satirical element to this game, but we'll dive into that. So, what is this game called, and what Let's just start. What's it called, first of all?
All right, so the working title currently is Santa's Sleigh Ride Sacrilegious Arcade Action.
Okay.
Which is
Santa's
an homage
Sleigh
to Metal Gear Solid.
Ride. Okay, Sacrilegious
Arcade
Action. Okay, so this is like tactical espionage action in Metal Gear.
Exactly.
Okay. Got it, okay. So it makes a lot of sense. Now, the game basically has Santa Claus. I think he is in... And he's going up against corporations, or corporations are basically like screwing up Christmas. Is that?
Well, the premise is like right around the turn of the 20th century, Coca-Cola.
Okay.
Made a deal with Santa Claus, saying we will market you and we'll do you this favor to help you get access to the rest of the kids in the world.
Okay.
In exchange, you have to promote our sodas.
Okay.
But over the last 100 years, it's turned into this very controlling, like, you work for us, it doesn't matter what you
Santa
want.
Claus works for the cola company, and that's
so, what's happened in the last, like, probably from like the 1970s to now is that him and the elves have decided this is not a good deal anymore, we want out. So they've been planning their escape, and their escape happens...
Perfect reason for a shooter.
Yes. Their escape happens to coincide with, like, you know, the 2010s, the 2020s. So, on Christmas Eve 20XX, him and the elves say, this is the Christmas Eve, and we're going to go off the farm.
Right.
To which his overlords say, okay, it's time to take Santa Claus out. So you spend the whole game trying to deliver presents to formerly forbidden areas, because they didn't play nice with the soda company.
Right.
And at the same time try to fight the evil Coca-Cola Corporation.
The cola, we're going to call the Cola Corporation, right?
What's it? Soda Cola.
Soda Cola.
No, Polar Soda is the name.
Polar Soda. So that's a little bit of like a throwback to the old Polar Bear Coca-Cola commercials? Is that kind of the... Okay.
Like, so he's going to be
like the Christmas commercials where you've got the polar bears, they're so cute crawling around and they're popping open Coke.
Yeah, he's going to be the CEO of this conglomerate, I guess.
Okay.
So that'll be the thing.
So, the gameplay is pretty straightforward, like
Very
Super Nintendo era or even NES. You're really into like pixel graphics on the NES and the Super Nintendo. You knew that the resolution of both systems was 256 by 224. Yeah, I've only become familiar with that since, because I'm doing this Castlevania thing. I'm going to have to show you all that next week, but I basically did the per pixel mode 7 stuff. It's awesome, but...
And it's really interesting how, when you think of an NES game, like the first one that comes to mind, even though I didn't play it very much, was Popeye.
Right. I remember Popeye.
It was very like platformy kind of thing, but then you think of Super Metroid, and you're like, oh wow, the graphics are better, the colors are better, but really the only thing that changed was the colors.
Right.
The pixel count did not change, so I haven't even figured out how they did it.
What the difference is, because the SNES, I mean, by and large, and the NES had about the same resolution, right? They're both 256 by 224, exactly the same resolution, really. And then the difference with those colors, they're able to do, the gradients are so much smoother, and you don't have that, like, the banding effect, right?
Yeah,
when you have fewer colors. And
you didn't have a lot of the hard black lines
right.
to, like, separate in the Super Nintendo, but also the backgrounds, like, there was multiple layers you could have.
You could have four background layers on the SNES, right? Actually, This is going to come in handy in this talk.
Oh, yes.
I think I shared a link to this, but this is...
the Bible.
This is the SNES, dev manual. So you're able to get this off archive.org. Nintendo of America released it in 2016, I think. And I'm going through this, digging through from Mode 7, doing a little bit of research on that. But I showed this to Joseph a little bit earlier. I think it's something he's extremely excited about. He's way into this stuff.
It's fun.
Yeah, did you play NES games growing up, or you were just saying you didn't really?
So I was born in '87.
Okay.
So sort of towards the end of the NES. But my Uncle Billy had an NES and about 60 games.
Woo!
I even opened up
It's a good collection. It's not bad.
Yeah, I even opened up his Kirby Adventure from the cellophane wrap. I think you might have been mad. I mean, it needed to come out.
Whoops.
However, I will say Kirby, if you remember the old NES sleeves, they said Nintendo, but Kirby had sparkle font.
Really?
So it said Nintendo, but the red was sparkly.
Oh, that's something I didn't know. I did not know that.
So if you ever see a sparkly sleeve, it probably came from Kirby's Adventure.
I love how they used to do one-off carts or one-off things like that, with the cartridge sleeve, the gold Zelda cartridge. I mean, I have that.
Did you know they had yellow?
A yellow Zelda?
Yeah, there was a test cartridge that somehow circulated.
Okay, I did not know that.
And they also had gray. I didn't know they made anything but gold for the longest time.
No, I had the gold, and I have the gold N64 Ocarina of Time also. But
well, that's good.
I think I've got gold N64, gold Link's Adventure, or Zelda 2. Was that Link's Adventure? I can't remember.
The Adventure of Link.
Adventure of Link, and I had the original Legend of Zelda as a gold cartridge,
Yes.
which I guess was about all you could get. I think I might have seen a gray version of one of those. I don't remember.
So, at the age of like 3 to 4 is where my memory kind of disappears.
Right.
I was playing Nintendo, but I had a whole library to play with. So whenever we went to New York to visit my grandparents, I played Nintendo.
Right on.
So I got basically a NES Classic dose of video gaming of the NES generation. So I would say that I did get to experience the best and worst of the 8-bit
60
era.
games. That's a lot of games.
So then when it came time for the 16-bit era, I was 6 years old. It was like 1994. We got a Sega Genesis for Christmas, me and my brother. We got 3 games. It came with Sonic the Hedgehog 2. Then we also got Jurassic Park, which was impossibly hard.
Yeah, that was I remember that game. I had it for a little while. I think I returned it.
And then the
I want to say it was a bad game.
the X-Men game.
Yeah, I liked the X-Men game. That was one. It wasn't a great game, but I still enjoyed it.
But did you ever beat it? So
I don't recall if I beat it. I beat the. You know what? I beat the one on Super Nintendo, but the one on Genesis, I don't know if I beat that.
So the original X-Men game actually pulled a Hideo Kojima on the player.
Okay.
So the whole game takes place in the Danger Room. Like in the very beginning, you see a cinematic of a satellite on the moon sending like radio waves to the Earth.
Okay.
What that did is it locked the X-Men into the Danger Room, and it was going to murder them. So you get to like level 5, and it says reset or reboot the system to purge the virus.
Right.
And that's a cue for the player to hit reset real quick on the Genesis.
On the actual system, okay.
Because if you hold it too long, that's a hard reset, and that restarts the game.
Right.
But if you hit a soft reset, it actually takes you to the final boss, which is Magneto.
I'm going to have to go back and see if I still have that card. Now, I want to make sure. Was there also, do you remember, was there just a straight-up Wolverine game on the Genesis?
There was multiple. There was X-Men 1.
I think Adamantium Rage. Maybe I had Adamantium Rage and I didn't have X-Men, or maybe I had both. I can't remember.
There was Child of the Atom, which I think was Super Nintendo.
I played that one. I beat that. That was actually pretty easy. I rented it, though.
I want to say yes, because Wolverine was a really popular character in the 90s. But that may have been a Super Nintendo.
I feel like I had the Genesis X-Men as well, but that would have been tricky though if you got to that level and it said something about reset.
Well, it was really cryptic. Yeah. They gave no hints whatsoever.
That's how games were back in the day. That's what it was all. It was all. When you actually go back and look at it now, like old games were basically like IQ tests, right? Like that's sort of the mentality, right?
Simon's Quest.
Yeah, you have these like. You got these like 200 plus IQ programmers, and it's like, let's see if anybody gets this. That's what a lot of those games felt like.
No, but like the games that really formulated my love for the genre, or the industry.
Right.
For the NES, it was Super Mario Brothers 3, Zelda 1, and a game called Shatterhand. Those would be like, I guess.
I remember Shatterhand. Yeah.
And
it was not as popular, but still,
it was very good. Then we left Nintendo because we got the Genesis. So I was all about Sonic. The Power Ranger, the movie, the video game.
Okay.
Toy Story, and
the Toy Story on Genesis was
Kombat.
A really cool game.
Mortal Kombat had the blood
Mortal
code.
Kombat. Oh my gosh.
But yeah,
well, we were just kind of mentioning that with Josh because with his game we were like, are you gonna have a code for some if your bear gets caught in a trap, is it gonna be like, are you gonna have blood and guts? Is it just gonna be like stuffing that comes out
or like 6 rib cages that fly out of the body?
Yeah. Now I feel like if we got Joseph together with Josh and team, it would get a little darker. Now how did that stuff affect, growing up playing those games, affect how you felt about Santa's
sleigh ride? Let's see.
1 second.
What's up?
Take it away.
So let's see. It really came down to simplicity. So what a good game is a story. Why is the player playing the game? Why is pressing this button so satisfying or interesting? And for me, it always came down to purpose. I need to save the princess. I need to save the world. Stop this dictator or, demon from doing whatever it is that I don't want him to do. For example, take into account Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the 1989 game. I need to save April O'Neil and stop Shredder. What's wrong with that? So making Santa's Sleigh Ride, I wanted to come up with a very simple story that anyone can get behind throw it together behind a simple mechanic. For this case, it's like a 1980s like arcade shooter similar to Defender or UN Squadron on the Super Nintendo, and then just throw a lot of funny stuff in between and keep the player entertained for the entire duration. So that's about it.
All right, so sorry about that. We've just been going and about to run out of power here. So I feel like this is a little bit almost like the first episode again, where I'm just diving in, and
we got a quad pod made out of Coca-Cola cups.
Yes, that's literally what the computer's standing on right now as we do this. And just like threw the mic up, we're here in Pixels, and we needed some power, so we're like, hopefully nobody trips on this. And we're at 31 minutes now, and we're getting close to the end, but I feel like we haven't even scraped the surface of what Joseph has to offer in terms of what he talks about. I feel like we're going to have to get him either back, or we're going to have to dive into this a little bit more. Do you want to describe the plot of the game? Because I think, like, while I was just plugging in, you were basically talking about the purpose. Like, you need that sense of purpose as you come into this.
So the basic plot is that Santa and the elves don't want to be underneath the boot of the polar bear anymore.
Right.
So they're going to break away so they can deliver presents to any child on Earth indiscriminately of race, creed, faith, all that stuff. But in order to do that, you have to take up arms and you have to fight for that freedom to do that.
Right.
So I guess first time I ever thought of it, it's kind of a freedom.
It's a free
subliminal message.
Right. Yes. There's individual freedom and liberty for all is in this game. And now there are how many scenes are going to be in this first game?
So it's going to take place in 4 locations.
Okay.
We got Afghanistan, North Korea, Africa, and then Rome.
It's when he just so the first time I met Joseph, he described in like great detail, and I guess we probably had like 3 or 4 hours that first night that we were talking about this. So he really got to go into a lot of detail about the game. We're gonna have to have him back on and get into even greater detail.
Might not even have a beard.
Yeah, it could be. And then got together and we did mechanics. So when you were making this game in Unity and you got the 80s shooter kit off the asset store,
yes.
And so you're kind of you're developing the game with that. Now you're very attuned at developing all the sprites and doing like all the 2D graphics, animation, and all that pretty much, right?
Yeah, learned it all in GIMP, just freehanding.
Nice. And then on some programming, is that a little bit? So you could make your way in the 80s shooter kit, but I guess what was challenging was the mechanic of Santa's sleigh kind of doing this deal, right? Was that and also making sure that the sleigh wouldn't back up off the screen, I think. So I helped Joseph out with that a couple weeks ago. Got the sleigh mechanics, and it could be, if Joseph's up for it, it could be a really good let's get techie with it. Just to show you how we did this, I can describe in short detail. Basically to get Santa's sleigh so that the lead reindeer, whenever that is basically pulling the sleigh. It has to look like the lead reindeer is pulling the sleigh. And then what has to happen is the other reindeer have to follow along, and then they also have to sort of point at the lead reindeer. So I basically ended up writing 2 components for this. One is like a simple, basically transform follow component, and the other is a pretty simple transform point at component. But it's all in 2D, right? So we weren't using the 3D elements of Unity's transform system, but I think it was pretty convincing.
Well, you had fun because you had 12 reindeer.
I think I did 8 or 9. I was trying to do 8 reindeer plus.
We shortened it to 4.
I went a little. It was a little excessive.
And then when we exaggerated the the sine wave function, or maybe.
Yeah, we ended up. There was a time or speed function, how quickly they would follow and point at the other reindeer.
Right.
And yes, Joseph, though, astutely was like, hey, what if you slow down the interpolation? Basically, there's an interpolation on this, right? That what if you slow that down? Because it was pretty quick. The reindeer would, it was like that.
It was very like this.
Yes. There wasn't a lot of more of there wasn't a lot of arc like that. Yeah. And then we just slowed down the speed on that interpolation and got this crazy woo.
And then once we did that with the 4 reindeer and it was really slow, I saw your eyes widen.
Yes.
Yeah. You were like, oh oh, cool.
That's it,
like,
yeah.
and, like, that's the whole point.
Yes, and that was, what the cool thing about that was just collaboration. Like, I was looking at it one way. I kind of knew what Joseph was going for, but I just like devved up all this stuff, and then we just went and met at Kogan's, and he was like, well, what if you did X, Y, or Z? And this is the interesting thing about PixelFest Devs, though. You get, I think I lean a little more techie, a little more engineering than Joseph. And I think Joseph, and actually, you did like a little, almost like Venn diagram of what you felt your skill set was.
Yeah.
And it was like he was like design out to here, a little bit of code. I'm like okay at art, yeah. But the funny thing about that is I feel like it's totally accurate. And that was one of the interesting things about talking to Joseph, because you don't always talk to people that are great designers. Like, I think a lot of people like to say that they're a great designer. They think they're a good designer. Like, when I first got into game development, I thought I was going to be a good, like, an artist because I knew how to draw. I didn't know how to write code. So writing code was the most alien thing in the world. And I was like, yeah, if I made games, I'd probably be an artist, right? Because I already knew how to do that. Now, of course, as you get into it, you start to realize there are certain distances that you're willing to go on certain things, or it could be just as a result of the team that you're put in. You're like, well, so-and-so's good at this, so-and-so's good at that. What am I going to be good at? Well, nobody has, this niche filled, so I'm going to go fill that. That happens sometimes too. But anyway, I had a lot of fun sitting down with Joseph because I could tell that like right away. I mean, you had one game you designed on paper that I think kind of blew my mind. That was like the Reactor game.
Yeah, the Reactor.
And he's just like, here's a piece of paper with this game, and I'm like, and it made like it wasn't like he handed me the Super Nintendo dev manual here. First of all, it was like a quarter of the size of this, and the game made complete sense. It was just a drawing of the game too. I think it was the most impressive part.
I'm sure we all have that relative or that person in our life where they can take just a simple trip. Let's go get a Happy Meal at McDonald's,
right? And
make it the most memorable thing. Where when you're 65 years old, you're like, one time we got nuggets, but it was unlike any nugget I've ever had. Like, so when you make a game, I think that's what you need to do. And since we're all just starting, go back to 80s. Go back to the simple, like, okay, you have a shooter, you have a platformer, you have like a dig dug type thing. Make that interesting. Don't go to Final Fantasy VII and be like, this is my very first game. I'm going to create a giant lore. Take like Metal Gear Solid. It started off as you're in this base, you got to rescue your friend, and then find out who has the big robot.
Right.
Fast forward to Metal Gear Solid 5. Weird.
That's a good way to put it. I feel like Metal Gear lost me at number 4.
4 was a little weird. 2's my favorite.
So I think I like Metal Gear Solid on the PlayStation. I played Metal Gear on the NES, and I played Metal Gear 2. Did you play the real 2, or did you play Snake's Revenge on NES? That's a good question. I think I played Snake's Revenge. So I didn't play so there was a Japanese only Metal Gear 2?
So yeah, what happened was...
Or it was on a computer or something, right?
Ultra, I believe it was.
Yeah.
Ultra made Snake's Revenge, which was a sequel to Metal Gear.
Yes.
And when
I played that.
And when Kojima got word of that, he looked at it and he said, this isn't Metal Gear. This is horrible.
Yeah.
And then on the train ride home from after viewing it, he came up with the concept of Metal Gear 2 Solid Snake, which was an MSX exclusive, but later released on Metal Gear Solid 3 Subsistence.
Okay.
But
on the PlayStation 2.
Yes.
Okay.
But because of that horrible sequel that was unofficial, we have all the other Metal Gear games. Otherwise, that franchise was going to lay dormant.
Wow. Well, so some good came out of that, pretty much, is what you're saying.
Millions of dollars came out of it.
Now, I really enjoyed Metal Gear Solid on the PlayStation. Just straight up Metal Gear Solid on the PS1. I did enjoy the second one, but I was one of those people that was so taken aback by Raiden? Yeah, I was just like,
but I don't know if it was intended or not, but think about it. Raiden complained the whole time about the situation he was in. Oh man, this is not what I want to be doing. I don't like this.
Right.
But subconsciously, you're on the same wavelength as Raiden. I don't want to be playing as this blonde kid. I want to be playing as the rugged beard guy.
Yeah.
And like, in a weird way, the more you look at it, like, dude, best game ever.
There's some genius there. There's a little genius there. I think Hideo Kojima is a genius.
And that was the last game that he was truly enthusiastic about making.
Okay.
He came back to make Metal Gear 3, and then he came back again to make 4 and all the others after that. 1 and 2 were the last games where he's like, all right, I'm going to try. I think I have an idea here.
I'm really into this. Yeah. The third one, I heard a lot of people say it's great.
It's different, but it's good.
It seems like it was probably pretty good. I didn't, for whatever reason, I didn't get that deep into that one. I did beat the fourth one on PS3.
Yep.
And I have I don't have the complete fifth one. There was like a shorter.
So
what was it called?
Ground Zeroes.
Yes, I have that.
And then
but I never opened it. I have it sitting on my PS4, and I always look at it and I'm like,
Ground Zeroes is actually really good. Very short. Like the first time you'll go through, it'll be about an hour.
right.
Phantom Pain is just like Grand Theft Auto in the desert.
Okay.
So I like Ground Zeroes a lot more.
Are they separate games, or is Ground Zeroes just like a preview of?
It's like Metal Gear Solid 2. Remember where you played as
you had the
Snake for a little bit?
Yeah. Okay.
And then 2 years later, you play as Raiden.
Now, I would say I was extremely excited about Metal Gear Solid 2 when it came as a demo disc inside Zone of the Enders.
Yes.
I was so excited about that, and that demo blew my mind.
Did you like Zone of the Enders, though?
I did. You know, I did. I was probably. I don't know if I was one of the few. I mean, Zone of the Enders. It seemed like it had an audience. Not Metal Gear Solid, but yeah. I was always into kind of mechs and like fast-paced mech combat. So and I guess you were flying a little bit in that game. It's hard for me to remember. It's like 20 years ago.
Well, like a floating levitation.
Yeah. It was okay. I mean, it wasn't Metal Gear.
No.
But it was. I had fun with it. So let's see. Man, I feel like there's something else I wanted to say, and I don't know if I'm gonna.
We got Santa Sleigh Ride. My origin in games.
Yes. And you have this whole like homage to Metal Gear that I didn't even know about.
Metal Gear is my favorite series.
Okay.
I don't know if it's my favorite game, but if it is, it's definitely my favorite game.
Okay, that makes sense. Metal Gear's one of my tops for sure.
Yeah, like Ocarina of Time is one of my favorites. Actually, there's that section in Ocarina of Time where you have to sneak into the castle to meet Princess Zelda.
Yes, it's very Metal Gear. Yeah.
But I hadn't played Metal Gear. I played Metal Gear for the first time on
that's very interesting.
I played it for the very first time on a Pizza Hut demo disc.
Okay.
And I hated it. It was very complicated. Your health bar was like the size of a peanut.
Right.
And I died.
So if you're used to all these games where you're going in and you're running and gunning, you're
yes.
like, what the hell is this?
But when I was playing as Link sneaking in, I was like, oh, this is so cool.
Right, yeah.
And that was like, it's kind of like where is
so
it?
Was it like click, ding?
Well, like I didn't even
kind
realize.
Kind of like a Metal Gear enemy.
Yeah, but I didn't realize it yet. And this is why I believe, like, fundamentally, you are who you are. You just, through your life, discover what you actually are.
Yeah, you're exploring yourself as you live.
Yeah, so you could have shown me Metal Gear, and I'd be like, that's stupid. But if you gave me that stealth experience, I'd be like, I like that.
Yes, okay. So playing that section at N64, Ocarina of Time, helped you to sort of uncover your love for Metal Gear, which you originally...
Not really.
No.
Okay. So I played that section in '98 when the game came out.
Right.
But I didn't touch Metal Gear until about 2002.
Okay.
But
that's interesting.
It wasn't until I was elevated in my mind that I started realizing, oh wow, like that was probably the Prometheus of it.
Okay. That's super interesting because if you had said, I played Metal Gear, hated it, then I played this section of Zelda, and for some reason I liked that, and then it made me realize but this is different. You're saying, I played Zelda, I liked the stealth, like,
that one little part
in this game. It was very short. I played Metal Gear after that, still didn't like it, and you hadn't played it before, I just didn't like it.
So I got the 64.
Right.
And my brother got the PlayStation. Okay. That's where we kind of diverged as brothers. And Metal Gear was hard. Like the whole art, there was a lot more buttons, or it felt like a lot more buttons.
Yeah, I think you had to, like, in order to pull a pistol out, you had to hold
R2 or L2 and select your item and your weapon. Whereas Zelda was just kind of like, all your buttons are on the screen. The controller for the 64, some say is complicated, but I got it pretty quick.
Yeah, yep.
And that was like 98, I was 11.
Right, sure.
But when I was about 14, 15 is when I played Metal Gear Solid 2 on the PlayStation 2 at my friend's house, and I was a little bit more developed, so I was able to comprehend things better. Yeah. And then the whole government nuclear thing was really interesting.
Yes, the conspiracy theories. It says at PixelFest Devs Meetup, we're always getting into conspiracy theories. But I feel like it's just par for the course, because in any good game, you have to have a good conspiracy theory, which is the reason for all those mechanics and everything.
Yes.
Like you said, like, why am I doing this? Like,
so the best games I found have mystery.
Okay.
And they feed you a little bit of the answer throughout the entire experience. Take like Halo.
Right.
So what is why are you on Halo? What is Halo?
Yes.
Halo 1.
Yes.
So you're playing Halo 1, you got Cortana in your head, and then you find out like, oh, this was made by the Forerunners. Okay, that's an answer, but that leads to another question. Who the hell are those guys? But then eventually at the end of the game, you find out the overall answer of what is Halo. But you still don't know who the Forerunners are and what the great journey is.
Yeah,
and that leads into Halo 2.
One mystery just leads to another, leads to another.
3.
It keeps you going.
And Metal Gear and Zelda were a lot like that for me.
For sure. Awesome. Well, all right, so this is Joseph Musso. And his studio is
Sunset Games,
I like
Sunset
it.
Studios.
It's a good name. And his game is, and I'm never I don't know if I'm ever going to be able to commit the whole name to memory for some. I don't know why. It's just not sticking in there.
Well, it's Santa's Sleigh Ride.
Right.
Sacrilegious arcade action.
I have to remember the Sacrilegious. Yes, Sacrilegious. That's the part that keeps tripping me up. So
it's anti-PC.
It's yeah. But we're going to be talking, I think, more about this game in the future, and when it is released finally. Oh, that's what I wanted to mention. So Joseph's had this game designed on paper or just in his head for 10 years.
Yes, it's 09.
And so he's been sitting on this for 10 years, finally came out to a PixelFest Devs meetup, and now has a playable prototype of the game.
Yep.
Like less than 2 months later, or like a month later pretty much, right? A month and a half later, playable prototype of the game. So
it's really what it comes down like to anybody who wants to make a game. So you got the idea, you got the art, you've got the design of the game, and then you got the coding. The game can be made very quickly if you have all those pieces. Mm-hmm. But like for me, I had the design and I had the art in my head, but no one to code it or even an engine to put it on. So that was really what held it up for 10 years.
Right. And so I just want to make the point, because we're about to sign off here. We're at 46 minutes, and basically we're seeing people who have been sitting on ideas like maybe you have, and coming out to a PixelFest Devs meetup and then getting to see that idea become reality and then get to talk to you about it. And hopefully we can get this game, I think, released sooner rather than later. But that remains to be seen. But what has happened is that Joseph had an idea, he had a design, and it is now something that's tangible that you can play. And I think that speaks to what we're doing with PixelFest and with these devs meetups. So everybody's having a great time here. We're about to sign off for the night. I'm going to go play some N64 and some other stuff.
And smash it in the background. I wonder how many people are actually going to be watching.
They're just watching. So these guys over here are all having a great time playing, and we're just wanted to mix things up this week a little bit. One of the things I wanted to do was just get some local developers talking about what they're working on, show you that there's a community here, and of course we want to continue to grow through our love of games. And I'm signing off for the night. Got any last words?
Stay gold.
Stay gold. I like it.
Do you want to mention PixelFest for next year at all?
PixelFest. What? I'm trying to think if anything's transpired since last week. So usually on the show every week, I talk about PixelFest. I did have another meeting actually last Wednesday, and it looks like the AIGA is going to be helping us. Now, the AIGA is like a national organization. We have a local chapter here in Hampton Roads, and Carl Cleanthes is the president of the local chapter. Carl and his team at Epic Made designed our T-shirts the last 2 years, and so this is and look, without the green screen, now you can see this. Sometimes I put a little green box there, but this is actually a T-shirt from the first year. But Carl and his team over at Epic Made designed the 2017 and 18 T-shirts, and basically now he's getting the AIGA involved, and we're going to be having some discussions to see how they can help make PixelFest in 2020 the best PixelFest yet. They have a very strong focus on design. They just did a poster competition where artists from around Hampton Roads submitted 28 different poster designs, which was the most they've ever had, which is pretty cool. So we might be doing something like that with regard to PixelFest. I'm going to have to unleash more detail on that later. That's probably was the biggest development, I think, over the last week. Obviously, the week before, I mentioned that we have our anchor spot, and I'm extremely excited about where it's anchored, and I'm looking forward to just getting more involved. And I'm so happy to have the AIGA involved, and Carl and his team, of course. And I think with each week, we'll be getting more and more people involved, and just looking forward to making it the best year yet. Hopefully, get the most people down there, and hopefully, you come out to the event and you end up, like Joseph, having this idea that maybe you've been sitting on, and it becomes reality. So, that about wrap it up? You good? You good? All right.
Enjoy your Halloween.
Yeah. All right, guys. We will see you later. I'm Jeremy Alessi again, founder of PixelFest. This is Joseph Musso with Santa's Sleigh Ride, Sacrilegious,
Arcade.
Arcade action. There we
There you
go. All right. Good night.